Sometimes, it's in the unexpected, in places and people we'd never imagine, that we find what our hearts have been yearning for. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that will make you believe once again in the power of love and the connection between two souls, even if they come from completely different worlds. I hope this beautiful story touches your heart deeply. Afterward, let me know in the comments what you think. Let's dive in. Jenny was never the type to give up easily. Since losing her parents, she had learned to fight for herself. Growing up moving from house to house, she dreamed of having something she could call her own: land, freedom, a future. That dream led her to buy an old car and join a caravan heading west, chasing after the land the government had claimed. What she didn't know was that fate was about to change her life in ways she could never have imagined. As the caravan moved forward, Jenny's old car began to show signs of wear. By the third day of the journey, her car got stuck in a muddy puddle, and one of the tires went completely flat. She called out for help, but she was at the back of the group, and no one heard her. Soon, the dust stirred up by the caravan disappeared over the horizon, leaving her alone in the vast wilderness. Jenny tried to fix the wheel with what she had, but it was clear she'd need wood to create a sturdy brace to replace the damaged part. For that, she had no choice but to enter the forest. Fear tightened her chest. The unfamiliar sounds of animals and the dense vegetation made her feel small and vulnerable. But she knew standing still wasn't an option. With hesitant steps, Jenny ventured into the forest, searching for the right kind of tree. When she finally found a trunk that seemed suitable, something unexpected happened. As she looked up, she saw him, a man with sun-kissed skin, long black hair like the night, and intense brown eyes that gleamed like those of a wolf. The man, a Comanche warrior named Koda, stood silently watching her. Despite his commanding presence, he was shirtless, revealing a strong and well-defined physique. His expression was calm. Jenny's heart raced. She knew she was on Comanche land, and her presence could be seen as an intrusion. Still, there was something in Koda's stance that made her believe he wasn't a threat. "Are you lost?" he asked, his voice firm but with a curious undertone. Jenny explained that she had been left behind by the caravan and needed help fixing her car. Koda observed her for a moment before replying, "I'll help. But you're on my land. This is Comanche land." Jenny felt her face flush. "I didn't mean any disrespect. I just don't have anywhere else to go." Koda helped her back to the car, and without her needing to ask, he used a small hatchet to cut wood and repair the wheel. He worked silently, but Jenny noticed his discreet glances. It was as if he could see right through her. When they finished, he whistled, calling a horse, a magnificent creature that emerged from the woods as if it were part of the landscape. Koda guided Jenny through the forest, ensuring her safety. Along the way, they started to talk. Jenny, initially surprised to discover that Koda spoke her language fluently, mentioned that she had assumed he only spoke the language of his people. That's when Koda explained his background. The son of a Comanche man and an American woman, he had grown up between two worlds, learning to speak both languages naturally from an early age. He shared how, despite his bilingual ability, he had never felt fully accepted by either side. Jenny shared her own story of a lonely childhood and her desire to build a future, finding in Koda someone who seemed to understand her in a way no one else ever had. With each passing day, Jenny felt more connected to Koda. He was a man of few words, but his presence was powerful. There was something comforting about the way he interacted with nature, with respect and harmony, and the way he protected her without overstepping her independence. That evening, as the sun set, Jenny realized she was too exhausted to continue her journey. Koda invited her to stay until the next day, explaining that the forest could be dangerous at night. Though hesitant, she agreed, feeling safe with him nearby. That night, they shared stories by a small campfire, where Jenny began to understand more about Koda's world and his traditions. The next day arrived, but a sudden storm rendered the paths impassable, forcing Jenny to stay longer. Koda suggested they use the time to better prepare her car and strengthen their shelter. Slowly, the days turned into a week. Jenny learned to identify medicinal plants Koda used and began to feel a sense of harmony with the environment around her. The daily interactions strengthened the bond between them. Koda, always respectful, taught Jenny how to hunt and navigate the forest. In return, she shared aspects of her own culture and stories from her childhood. What had initially seemed like a survival encounter transformed into something much deeper. Jenny realized that despite the differences in their worlds, there was an undeniable and growing connection between them. Just as they were preparing to rejoin the caravan, Koda rushed back with devastating news. Jenny's group had been attacked and destroyed by a rival tribe. She was in shock. All of them? Gone, she asked, her voice trembling. Yes, he replied. But you are safe. I'll protect you. Koda led her to a safe place in the forest, where he built a simple yet cozy shelter made of branches and animal skins. Jenny wasn't sure what she would do next, but for the first time in days, she felt secure. Days turned into weeks, and each moment they spent together felt like a new discovery. During this time, Jenny and Koda delved deeper into understanding each other. Jenny began teaching him some words of her language, while Koda introduced her to the traditions and rich culture of the Comanche. He showed her how every plant served a purpose, how animals were respected, and how the land was more than just earth, it was life. In return, she shared stories of her childhood and her dreams of a home she never had. They laughed, shared stories, and exchanged looks that spoke louder than words. Their connection became undeniable, but both hesitated to take the next step, fearing that their feelings might be crushed under the weight of their differences. One warm afternoon, while resting by a river, Jenny felt she could no longer suppress what was in her heart. She moved closer to Koda, and with a shy smile, suggested they swim together. He agreed, and the two waded into the cool water, where the gentle sounds of the river seemed to harmonize with the beats of their hearts. As she touched Koda, Jenny felt a surge of courage fill her chest. Without hesitation, she lifted her face and kissed him. It was a gentle kiss, yet charged with all the emotions she had been holding back. Koda, surprised, didn't pull away. He held her firmly, yet with the tenderness of someone cherishing something precious. In that moment, all the barriers between their worlds disappeared. There, in the vastness of nature, they were just two souls finding one another. As they pulled away slightly, Koda looked deep into Jenny's eyes and with a sincerity that sent shivers through her said, "I never imagined someone like you could come into my life. But now, I can't imagine my life without you." Jenny smiled, touching his face, and replied, "I can't either. Everything about you completes me in a way I never thought possible." After that moment, there was no doubt about their feelings. Jenny, recalling Koda's fluency in her language, remembered what he had shared about his origins, the son of a Comanche and an American woman, raised between two worlds, learning from an early age to navigate their differences. That story resonated even more deeply now. As the days passed, Jenny couldn't shake the feeling that she had found something she had always been searching for, a sense of wholeness she never imagined she would find, especially here in nature, with someone from such a different world. Koda, on the other hand, saw every gesture and smile from Jenny as an invitation to dream, but he feared she would never consider staying with him in such an isolated place. With a heavy heart, Koda called Jenny for a conversation. Sitting under the shade of a tree, he took a deep breath and said, "I finally finished all the repairs on your car, and the rumors of enemy attacks have stopped. If you wish, I can take you back to the city safely." His tone was firm, but the sadness in his eyes was unmistakable. Jenny looked at him seriously, feeling the weight of the words she needed to say. After a long silence, she finally responded, "Koda, I don't want to go back there. My heart doesn't belong to the city. It's here with you. If you'll have me, I want to live here by your side." Koda's eyes widened in surprise. He fought back the emotions welling up inside him but couldn't hide the glow that lit up his face. "Do you mean that, Jenny?" he asked, his voice unsteady. She smiled, touching his face gently. "Yes, with all my heart. You're everything I've ever searched for, even without knowing it. I want to be with you, Koda." Unable to hold back his feelings any longer, he pulled her close and kissed her deeply. It was a kiss full of passion, gratitude, and promise. When they finally parted, Koda held Jenny's face in his hands and said, "Nature brings together hearts that belong to one another. You are mine now, Jenny, and I am yours." From that moment, the decision to build a life together wasn't just a choice but a destiny. Jenny learned to live in harmony with nature, while Koda found in her love a renewed reason to dream of the future. Together, they faced every challenge, for their souls were now irrevocably connected. Over the years, Jenny and Koda built a family and found a way to merge their worlds. Jenny, with her determined and dream-filled spirit, adapted to life in tune with nature and Koda's culture. In turn, Koda found in Jenny not just a partner but an inspiration to dream of a future filled with unity and prosperity. Together, they transformed the simple shelter into a home brimming with love and laughter. Jenny brought lightness through her stories and endless curiosity, while Koda taught their children, and Jenny, about Comanche traditions, the secrets of the forest, and respect for the land. They lived each day as a gift, celebrating both their similarities and differences. Their connection only deepened as the years went by. Even in difficult times, the way Koda looked at Jenny always said, "You are my strength." And for Jenny, Koda's touch was a reminder that she had found her home, not in a place but in a heart. When the nights grew quiet and the moon lit up the sky, they would sit around the fire with their children, sharing stories and exchanging looks full of complicity. In those moments, Jenny knew that what she had been searching for, a full life, a true love, had been found there, in the arms of a man from a world so different from hers. And so, two lonely souls from vastly different realities not only became one but showed the world that, in the end, love is the most powerful force of all, capable of building bridges where once there were only chasms. This was the heartwarming story of Jenny and Koda, a love that overcame all barriers and proved that souls destined to be together will always find their way. And now, we want to hear from you. What did you think of this story? Do you believe that love can transform lives in such surprising ways? Leave your comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories like this one. Who knows, the next one might even be inspired by something you share. Let's create together. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.